A driver with a seat at NASCAR's own decision-making table just said something he probably wasn't supposed to say out loud, on camera. Denny Hamlin hesitated for half a second, then handed the entire garage a preview of what's coming to Daytona. And if the numbers he's describing are real, the most predictable race in the calendar might be about to change forever. Here's the situation in plain terms. NASCAR is rolling out a technical adjustment before the August 29 Daytona race, the final event before the playoffs lock in. Denny Hamlin, who now sits on NASCAR's competition committee, revealed that the aerodynamic penalty for pulling out of the draft line is being cut down dramatically, by roughly a third of what it currently costs a car. Translation, drivers who leave the line to make a move won't get punished nearly as hard by the air around them. That single number could be the difference between another single-file freight train at Daytona and an actual race. To understand why this matters, you have to understand how Hamlin even ended up in that room. Back in 2024, his team 23XI Racing teamed up with Front Row Motorsports to sue NASCAR. The accusation was serious, running the sport like a monopoly, controlling teams with too much power and too little pushback. That case was heading to trial in December 2025. It never finished. Instead, it settled, and the settlement reshaped the sport at a structural level: permanent charters, revenue sharing, and for the first time, actual team owners sitting inside the room where the rules get written. Denny Hamlin isn't just a driver commenting from the outside anymore. He's inside the process. So when he talks about what's coming, he's not speculating. He's reading numbers NASCAR itself is working with. And the timing could not matter more. Daytona in August is the last chance saloon. Drivers who haven't won a race all season are staring down a playoff cutoff, and desperation at 200 miles an hour is its own kind of dangerous. Let's break down why this fix is being made and whether it actually solves the real problem. Daytona racing runs entirely on the draft. The lead car cuts a hole through the air and everyone behind gets pulled along in that pocket. Leave that pocket and your car loses speed almost instantly. The next-gen car made that penalty brutal. Step out of line to attempt to pass and the car hits dirty, turbulent air. It stalls. The driver falls backward through the field instead of gaining ground, so drivers stopped trying. The entire pack collapsed into one long single line, and passing became a game of just shoving the car in front of you. That's not racing strategy. That's a 200-mile-an-hour standoff, and it's been the story of Daytona for years. This new Aero package is a direct answer to that exact failure. By cutting the aerodynamic penalty roughly 2/3 down from where it sits now, a driver buried in 18th place suddenly has a real option. Pull out, hold your speed, build a second lane, maybe even a third. Is it a return to the wide-open, multi-groove racing NASCAR had 7 to 10 years ago? Hamlin himself was careful not to oversell it. This isn't a trip back to 1995. But even a partial fix here matters because Daytona amplifies everything. Small aerodynamic gains at 200 miles an hour translate into big strategic gains on the racetrack. The risk sits on the other side of that coin. More lanes means more contact points. More attempted passes means more chances for someone to misjudge a gap in a pack running inches apart at full speed. NASCAR is essentially trading predictability for chaos, betting that better racing is worth the increased crash risk. At a track already infamous for the big one, that's not a small bet. Expect a split reaction here, and both sides have a point. One side of the fan base has been begging for exactly this. They've watched Daytona turn into a slow-motion parade for years and wanted the multi-lane racing back. For them, this is NASCAR finally listening. The other side will point straight at safety. More lane changes, more late moves, more cars willing to gamble with a playoff spot on the line. That's a recipe some drivers and analysts will call reckless before a single green flag drops. And there's a second layer to the reaction. Hamlin is a driver, a team owner, and now a rules committee voice all at once. Some will call that transparency. Others will call it a conflict of interest they're not comfortable with. Best case, the package works close to how the numbers suggest. Multiple lanes form, drivers start racing with real strategy again instead of just holding position, and Daytona delivers the kind of unpredictable, multi-groove show it hasn't had in years, right before the playoffs, when the drama matters most. Worst case, the extra aggression turns into extra chaos. More cars attempting moves in tighter spaces raises the odds of a massive multi-car wreck, and instead of being remembered for better racing, this Daytona gets remembered for one bad afternoon that ends a handful of playoff hopes in a single pileup. So here's the real question heading into August 29. Does NASCAR just hand drivers back the racetrack, or does it hand them more rope to hang themselves with? Drop your prediction below. Multi-lane racing returns, or the big one gets bigger? If you want the breakdown before every major Cup Series race this season, make sure you're subscribed, because this Daytona package is just the start of the story.